What's up, you guys? Stoopzz back here with another video, and today I have a very exciting video for so many of you guys out there. I know many of you have been coming to this channel over the past year or so to try and get information on how to improve in World of Warcraft, to get some insight to how to get started in World of Warcraft PvP, and that is the aim of this video. Now, the other day I thought about this, and I'm very strong in the belief that I believe this will be helpful for so many of you. I really want to put some value and provide some value and just not waste your time with any of this. I want you to walk away from this, maybe 10 to 15 minute video, having learned something or feeling a little bit more confident when stepping into World of Warcraft PvP. Now, the other day, like I was saying, I've been doing coaching for World of Warcraft PvP for about over a year now. And I go through this process where I walk the person through all these different steps, and each session is kind of scheduled and mapped out. And I just thought to myself, you know what, like what's a better way to bring value than simply just to give away all this information for free and show you guys the script that I use and how I look to get better on each and every new class, each and every new character. So this will be a multi-part video series. This will be part one, but I think if you follow this series along the way, I expect all of you who decide to take it a little bit more serious to walk away with a lot of information and easily climb through the ranks. If you're stuck at some point or you're just unsure what's going on, this should help you out, and I'm very excited to release this to all of you guys. Now, before we hop into this video, I don't want to waste too much of your time like I talked about, but if you're unsure of who I am, my name is Stoopzz, and no surprise if you don't know who I am. I've been creating World of Warcraft PvP and streaming World of Warcraft PvP content for over a year now, going on to 2 years. And throughout that time, I've released a lot of guides on my YouTube channel. I've released add-on videos and just ranking videos and tutorial series videos. I've been trying to make content for so many of you guys out there. And a lot of you know me as a Mistweaver Monk main, but since Legion, or in the middle of Legion, I fell in love with multi-classing because I realized that I was never going to be Sea-Doo. I'm never going to be one of the best healers in the world. That is just not ever going to be me. But what I love to do is I love to create content and help more people out there to just get better and enjoy the game. That is what I find enjoyable. That is what I love to do. And I decided because of that, I'm going to try and learn multiple classes, not just play one class that's my favorite, but try and learn almost all of the classes in the game and play them at a higher rating or a decent rating depending on the season. I'm a multi-gladiator in my monk. I've got gladiator in my demon hunter. So I have decent experience in this game. Now, right now, I've played almost every single class in the entire game, but the only class I've never played is a mage. I've never touched a mage. I've never played a mage, and a lot of you guys might know me as somebody who's done this Road to 2K challenge where I did it on my paladin and my hunter and a bunch of different healers. And now I'm looking to kind of take this series to the next level, and I started a mage, and I figured what a better time to make a video series like this than with a brand new class that I've never played before. So on my stream, I'll be pursuing the same journey as many of you guys. I'm very bad at my mage, very inexperienced. It is not normal to me. It's a very hard class for me to play, but my goal by the end of the season, which ends in about a month, I'm going to try and go for about 22 to 2400 on my mage. I have a month left. I just got to 120, 22 to 2400 on my mage. And then next season, I'll go for gladiator. That's not a high rating, but I have a month to do it, a month to learn the class. And I don't have a bunch of friends that are going to be willing to play with me and carry me or anything like that. I'm going to have to grind my way out. I have nothing else to do. I've already got glads on my main, so now I'm just looking to make this series and hopefully make an informative series, and you guys can follow me along the way, but you can also follow me along in this tutorial series. Okay, so here we are on my fresh level 120 mage named Zarpoops. Now in this video, it's going to be an introductory video, if that is a word. It's going to be 5 steps in this video on how to get started and what you should be doing when you are starting World of Warcraft PvP or a new class when going into World of Warcraft PvP. I still think if you're experienced, the next several videos will be extremely helpful, but this video might have some knowledge for you that you can kind of dig out and apply to your games after leaving this video. So I think it'd be helpful. The first video, once again, will be very introductory. The second video will be more in depth, but in this video, there are 5 steps. Now, the first step of the first 5 I've talked about in the past, and I will link all the videos that I might mention in this video in the description box below, step by step, and you can go back and refer to those videos. But the first step, and I've talked about in the past, is pick a class. You need to pick a class. Don't be one of those guys. I coach people all the time and they come to me and they go, I like playing hunter, mage, rogue, warrior, warlock, shaman. They name all the classes. I get you like playing multiple classes, but if you're trying to get better, you need to be, you don't want to be a jack of all trades and a king of none. You need to understand your class, and then through understanding your class, you can focus less on your class and more so on the things that you're seeing in the game, you know, your awareness, your positioning. If you're always trying to battle to learn a new class, then you're spending little time learning the game in general and more time just learning the class. So I'd recommend picking a class, and then in the order, I'll summarize the video that I mentioned a second ago where I break down all the roles. There's obviously melee, ranged, and healer. Those are the 3 roles in World of Warcraft. If you're new to the game, I recommend playing a melee DPS, and if you're a bit more experienced, then I would go ranged and healer. Sometimes there's some ranged classes that are much more difficult than being a healer and vice versa, but I would just say melee in general is much easier, in my opinion, than when playing a healer or a range class. Now, there are some outliers for melee. Rogues, I don't believe, are that easy. Obviously, assassination is more, you know, one of the easier rogue specs, I would say, but your role in the arena comp is much different than just doing damage. Everyone thinks it's all about doing damage, but it's not all about doing damage. I don't care what anyone says. You need to understand how to CC correctly, avoid CC, etc. Being a range class, I'd avoid playing a mage. Mage, I don't care what anyone says, they're very difficult to play. Everyone can just do damage and cast Greater Pyroblast, but that's what the noob mages do. Really good mages like Zaryu, when you watch them play, they're doing so many things at once that it's very difficult to pick up. And even for me, I think mage is the hardest class I've ever played. So I'd avoid playing like a mage. And if you're a healer, I'd avoid playing some of the more difficult healers, like perhaps Discipline Priest, I believe is hard to play. I don't care what anyone says. Once again, Resto Druid, difficult to play. I would say Holy Paladin and Mistweaver Monk are one of the easier healers to play. Then maybe Resto Shaman and you know, and so on. So those are my rankings. Pick one out of those. If you're new, play like a warrior or maybe a Death Knight or like a Rep Paladin maybe. And if you're more experienced, you can explore further. But number 1, pick a class. All right, so now that we've picked our class, and for the sake of this video, we're going to be talking about mages because that is what I'm playing. I'm walking you through what I'm doing and what I am starting to do and what I'm working towards on my mage, and I'm taking you each step of the way. I'm not going to just show you, I'm going to do it myself. So right now I'm on a website called arenamate.net, link in the description, and in this website, it is a great tool that you can use to get a sample pool of a lot of different players on the arena ladder, and you can sort by rating. So here we have the sample pool where we have Fuse at the top of the ladder, Sea-Doos right underneath this player, and you can see all the top specs, all the top classes, the top races. So you can see that orcs are performing very well, you can see rogues are performing very well, and you can see discipline priests or priests in general are performing very well. But you can also sort by rating, where I go 2400 and above and I filter any region, any 3v3 bracket, any faction, and you can see that priests are still doing very well. We also have rogues, etc. So what I want to show you here is, once I've picked my class, and for the sake of this video, once again, we're playing mage, I'm going to filter by mage. And once I filter by mage, I can see the ladder of all the mages. Now I can see a lot of mages are playing fire. There's some that are playing frost, and arcane is just like, you know, it doesn't exist at the moment for the most part. I'm going to pick fire and frost. I don't know what I want to play, but let's just look, for example, at Zaryu, right? Let's look at TM Zaryu. He's playing fire. I want to see what Zaryu is playing. So I just clicked on his profile there, and I can see his item level, and I can also see the most important part. The reason why we're looking at this is his Azurite traits. And I can see right now in Legion, or in BFA I should say, it's all about Azurite traits and getting the right stats. So when I look at Zaryu, I'm going to look straight at his Azurite traits first. I see that he has Blaster Master, Overwhelming Power. I see that he has Blaster Master, Overwhelming Power, and then I see he has Blaster Master and also Elemental Whirl, which is another way of getting more haste, and he's just trying to build up his stats, and he's also trying to stack, most importantly, Blaster Master. I can also see that he's gemming his gear and enchanting his gear with haste, and seeing all of these haste gems and these haste enchants, it's showing me that Zaryu is trying to build his haste. And if I scroll down on the page, I can see that he has 19% haste, 11% mastery, 12% critical strike, and 10% versatility. And you can go through all of the various players on this ladder that play your class and try and compare and contrast the stats. You can also see his talent build for fire. I have his honor talents here. Honor talents typically change almost every game, and sometimes your talents, but we can see that in general he's playing greater power blast, controlled burn, temporal shield, etc. So what I want to do here is I want to just mirror Zaryu's profile to the best that I can. I obviously can't get to his item level immediately. Your stats won't look probably as good as his does depending on your gear, but you can try to mimic them the best that you can. So I've picked my class, and in that I'm looking to see what I have to replicate and what I need to strive after in terms of my stats, and most importantly, probably my Azurite traits. You want to go out of your way to replicate these Azurite traits, those being Blaster Master. So as you can see here on my mage, we're on step 2. I'm trying to replicate to the best of my ability Zaryu's stats if I wanted to play fire, and then if I wanted to play frost, I might try and replicate a different build based on somebody else on the ladder. But you can see here, I went out of my way immediately. So I leveled up my class, I picked the mage, I leveled it up, and then the first thing I did before doing anything else is I went and tried to get these Azurite traits. Now you can go out of your way to search up these Azurite traits. You can see here that I have 1 Blaster Master, 2 Blaster Master, and then the third one I still haven't got, so I have Battlefield Focus instead because I saw some players playing that instead. Now you can find out where to get these traits through just a random Google search. If you type in WoW Mage BFA Blaster Master trait, you'll find it on Wowhead. It will tell you that you can get it from Old Deer, Siege of Borealis, Shrine of the Storm, whatever. You can find it on Google and it will show you where to get these traits. Sometimes you can also get your traits from PvP by just doing PvP and conquest caps at the end of this bar through doing random PvP activities, whether it be BGs, arenas, etc. You can see at the end, you'll get a reward, and sometimes it will be an Azurite piece. Typically, for some reason, Blizzard just knows that your best PvP traits will be on your shoulders. For most classes, it's on your shoulders. Sometimes it's on your helmet, your chest piece that can come through PvP. There's also little things that you can do on the map called, they're called, it's PvE nonsense. Emissary quests, your little emissary. You do a few quests in the zone. It might give you a Azurite piece for doing that. You just want to go out of your way and get these Azurite traits to the best of your ability. And then once you've done that, you're going to pause. So you've gotten your class, you've picked the stats, you know what stats you need, you know what Azurite traits you need, and then now you're going to pause and download a few very crucial add-ons. Now there's a lot of add-ons that I think are very helpful for PvP, but that's going to be more of in my next video, and how you're supposed to use these add-ons the right way. I see a lot of people have Omnibar, but they're not using it for the right things, and their eyes are in the wrong places, and it drives me insane. But what you want to do right now is download 3 very crucial add-ons. Number 1 is going to be Gladius or S Arena. Gladius or S Arena. What that does is when you join the arena, it will simply show on the side of your screen. It will not be this big. If there's 5 arena targets here, it'll typically be 2 or 3. You can also adjust the size, etc. But we won't worry about that for today's video. You just want to download Gladius or S Arena, so it'll show you the enemy frames when you're inside of the arena. It has handy information like DRs, we'll talk about that later, trinkets, and all the other stuff. But you want to download Gladius. You then want to go out and download Omnibar. Now, all of the names to these add-ons will be somewhere in the description or on the screen here. You want to go out and download Omnibar, and Omnibar will show you not only interrupts, which is what most people use it for, but will also show you enemy abilities that have been used and the ones that you really want to track, and you have to know when they use them. Now, there's so many on my screen here. It will not look like that when you do an arena because I'm tracking all of the classes all at once. So it'll be like maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 abilities on your screen at most, but it's very helpful to have, and I really recommend you download that one. And then the next one is going to be Details. Now, I won't explain Details in today's video, but it is a very important tool to use to monitor your damage, but most importantly, it's important to use to monitor your opponent's damage and how they compare to your damage. You can see here that this warrior did a lot less damage than this warrior, and you can see through the damage breakdown why that was the case, and it will give you a lot of important information that I want you to use not only for PvE but PvP, etc. And you want to just get that in your add-ons folder in your World of Warcraft, C programs 86 folder. Get that there, and I'll explain how we're going to use those and a few other add-ons in the next video. But those are the 3 crucial ones that I really recommend all of you guys download. Okay, so now that you have the right class, you've gone after the right stats, and you have your Azurite traits, and you downloaded 3 add-ons, your question is, when do I start PvPing? People ask me all the time, how much item level do I need? How much gear do I need to start PvPing? To be quite honest, you guys, all I would do if I were you is I would simply get your Azurite traits and then just go straight into PvP. Start doing arena. All the add-ons that I gave you today, they don't need any setup. They just immediately start working. You can tinker them if you want, but you're ready to go. And the reason why you want to start doing arena now is you're killing 2 birds with 1 stone. A lot of people, they try and get the right gear and they do these mythics and these dungeons, but they've gotten no practice in PvP. But through PvP, you can get a full set of gear in almost a day. You're not going to be the best player in the world, but chances are the people you're fighting are not going to be the best players in the world. You're not going to have the best gear in the world, but so are they. They're not going to have good gear either because they're at your MMR or your rating, and you can gear your character out just through PvP. It randomly drops. You get chests that open up when you finish an arena that give you gear, and you can get gear straight up through PvP and not waste your time doing any dungeons unless you really want to. The only thing you need to do, once again, is get the Azurite traits, and then just hopefully you get some gear that randomly drops through arena just by finishing or completing an arena, and it will have the stats that you want. You can see here that my bracers have amazing stats. You can see that some of my rings have the best stats that I need, and that just came from PvP. All this gear on my fresh level 120 mage that I just got to 120 about 2 days ago, all of it has come through PvP. So immediately start diving in there, get your gear through that. Don't wait, don't hesitate, don't be worried. You're going in there to get practice. And now the 5th tip is going to be, once you've done all of those things and you've been practicing and you have your add-ons, etc., the gear, don't get frustrated. Number 5, the most important thing I would say, actually, do not get frustrated with your struggles. Don't get overly stoked. I mean, you can get excited about your successes. This big dinosaur butts in my face. Don't get upset if you do not perform well. It's okay. You're having fun. You're trying to learn. If you're playing with somebody who's a little bit of a butthead, just ignore that person. You're there to get better. And I promise you, get those 5 steps out of the way. Enjoy the process. This is the most fun part of all of these challenges for me, is just getting my gear, getting the swing of things, learning my class. You're learning all the little ins and outs. You're getting comfortable on the keyboard, the mouse, etc. Following that, it gets into the heavy stuff, and a lot of the hard work comes out there. But right now we're just having fun. So enjoy the process, don't get frustrated. And then following this video series, I'll have another 5 important tips for you and how you can improve going into video number 2. Okay, so I know this video was rather basic to some of you, but I have to start the video series somewhere. There's going to be a lot of people that don't know half of the lingo that I'm using, or they don't know what any of this stuff is, and I have to start the video series somewhere by explaining a lot of the beginner steps. But going into video number 2, it will be a little bit more detailed. I'll do my best to explain everything, but I think throughout this video series, a lot of you, especially you who are new to this game, will learn a ton from this series, and you'll be much further along than your friends who are not putting in some of the work that you're putting in by just watching a simple 10-minute video. And I hope by watching this 10-minute video, you got some value out of it, right? Because that was the fundamental point, is I wanted to bring value to this video series and create a playlist that you can use and refer back to for the next couple years or so, if this game is still around by then. But with that being said, I will be continuing this challenge here on my mage. You can see my mage here named Zarpoops. I'm hoping many of you guys come out to support me on my mage and come into my stream at twitch.tv/Stoopzz_TV. You guys can check me out there. You can see me progressing on my mage. It's a journey that you guys can follow along with me. A lot of you guys seem to like me or like when I do these challenges. I'm not that conceited, but when I do these challenges, people tune in. They seem to enjoy them. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you found it helpful, be sure to give the video a thumbs up. If you have any more comments, suggestions, or questions, you can leave those in the comment section below, and I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. Big shout out to all my Patreon supporters who've been supporting me this whole time on Patreon. You guys are the reason I still run this channel. And without you guys, none of this would be possible. If you're interested in supporting me on Patreon, a link to the information will be somewhere here on the screen or in the description box below. And for supporting me on Patreon, you can also earn yourself some coaching. Try not to miss me on my Twitch live stream where I will be attempting this mage challenge. Do not forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.